is absolutely true. Say black women don't know their role. Other races understand what their role is. Black women are difficult. This is true. Guaranteed. If you ask a so-called black woman what her role is in a relationship, she's gonna be confounded. The majority of black women will be confounded. They will not have an answer. And if they do answer, their answer usually is going to lead on the grounds of running the show, being a leader, taking control, controlling a man. Their answer will never be a helpmeet, a mother, a wife, a keeper of the house. It will never be that. It will never be a team player to follow the man. It will always be to lead the man, rule over the man, have authority over the man, be equal to the man, be above the man. That's true. Like, that is so true. So we have to understand, this all came from slavery. And when we go back to the Willie Lynch letters, this is what his goal was intended to do. To break the Negro woman and to break the Negro man. So when we got off them slave ships, when we was brought over here and got off them slave ships, right, we were still marrying. We were still families, okay? We were still unified. Our oppressors, Massa, broke us down. He beat the men in front of the women. Beat them so bad, butt breaking. I know everybody know about that. To the point where the so-called black woman, she didn't look at the so-called black man as her protector any longer. And so in the Willie Lynch letters, it literally said this will put the so-called black woman in a psychological frozen independent state where she would no longer look to the so-called black man as her protector, as her provider, that she would be her sole provider and her sole protector. And not only that, she would raise her sons to be effeminate and weak, and she would raise her daughters to be independent in her own provider. So they would basically get reverse roles. And that's what you see in society today, because the man is removed from the house. Understand that was an agenda against the Israelites, y'all. We got to go to the root of the issue. This has always been an agenda to break up the so-called black family. Remove the man from the house, give the woman the power. She's frozen in this independent state where she believes she's the power, she's the provider, she's the alpha, and she would raise her son and daughter up in reverse roles. The boys will become effeminate, the girls will become dependent. And that's where we are today. So through many, many, many years and generations of Willie Lynch breaking a so-called black Negro woman and a black Negro man, here we are today. So I just had to point out the fact how the so-called black woman, she does not understand her roles. Well, her mom didn't understand her roles, and her mother didn't understand her roles, and her mother didn't understand her roles, so on and so forth. Understand where it goes back to. This is a generational curse. It was put upon us by our enemies, our oppressors. This is how they wanted it to be, to destroy us. Because if you go to Psalms 83, go read Psalms chapter 83. It talks about, David is crying out and he's saying to the Most High, "Oh Lord, how long?" Right? It talk about how they made a tumult against the children of Israel, that they would cut us off from being a people, that our names would be no longer in remembrance. And if you look today, generational through generational oppression literally has stripped down not only the so-called black woman, but the so-called black man has been stripped down as well. When you look at the so-called black man today, not all, but the majority are weak. They're at a weak state. Some don't even know how to be providers. Some of them don't even know how to be protectors, right? And then you look at the so-called black woman today. She doesn't understand her role. She doesn't understand she's not the independent. She's not to be the head. She's not to be the provider. That her husband was supposed to do that. But that's what I'm saying. Through slavery, through captivity, Willie Lynch letters, they broke us down as a people, y'all. So that is where the so-called black woman learned it from. Psalms 83.
Keep not thy silence, O God, and hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together, with one consent, they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon, and Amalek the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot. There has been an agenda since day one to break down the so-called black family, which we are the Israelites. We are the chosen people of the Most High, to break our families down, separate us, that our names will be no longer in remembrance. In so doing it, it will cause the woman to leave her natural role, which was to be a helpmeet, be a wife, to raise her daughter up to be that. And then the sons to be raised up to be masculine instead of being effeminate. But in Willie Lynch letters, his letter literally specifically says, the Negro woman, she will be stuck in a psychological, independent state where she no longer depends on a so-called black man to be her protector or her provider. That she would also raise up her children in reverse roles. She would raise the male to be feminine and weak, and she will raise the females to be masculine and independent. With that being said, family, we all got to repent, and we all got to return back to the Most High and keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Shalom.